Hello, my name's Emily Smith. I'm the Environment Manager at the Angling Trust and I lead on our Anglers Against Litter campaign. So this presentation today, I'll just be touching on briefly about what the impact of litter is and why we should care, and then going on to the campaign itself and covering the different ways that we can all get involved and help to tackle this issue. So the Anglers Against Litter campaign is the sister campaign of our Anglers Against Pollution work. So I won't be covering that today, but I wanted to include a slide on this because it's another very important issue and they do overlap because litter pollution is also a type of pollution that is impacting our waters. So our Anglers Against Pollution campaign is really calling for existing regulation to be enforced and for more action to go on to monitor the level of pollution that is occurring in our waters throughout England. So if you want to find out more about that campaign, then please go to our website, Anglers Against Pollution, to find out more about that. But I won't be going into that in any more detail today. So what is the issue with litter and plastic pollution? So in my mind, and there's many more to this, but I kind of break it down into three main elements that is highlights the escalation that this is happening in the environment. The first is just the scale of the problem. So you have 2 million pieces of litter getting dropped in the UK every day. That's a huge volume of litter that's entering the environment. Number two, where they're coming from, and the fact that although a lot of these are being dropped in the parks, they're getting dropped on the streets, they are then getting blown into the rivers, into our lakes, and from there they can then be either trapped in those environments if they get caught on something, or they'll then get travelled downstream into our beaches and to our marine areas, and then these then become those sinks of those litter that has been dropped elsewhere. So it just means it's beginning to accumulate. And the final one is the persistence in the environment. So it's amazing when you look into the estimated levels of how long they take to break down. So for example, crisp packets take 75 to 80 years to break down to a single crisp packet. And protective masks is something we've all seen recently. They estimate that it'll take 450 years to break down the single-use ones if they are left and enter the environment. So it's those three things that highlight the escalating issue with this. And then also when it comes to plastics, it's the idea that they may not break down completely. They just get degraded into smaller and smaller particles, and then when they get to a smaller size, they then become an issue when they can enter the food chain. And once present in the environment, then this litter presents a huge risk to wildlife and to animals. And so this can be through a variety of different ways, just by it being left on the beach or on the riverbank, for example. It then is risk of getting entangled, so you can have birds or other kind of wildlife at risk of getting entangled in it, getting trapped as they put their head in searching for food. If there's glass present that's been broken, then the risk of getting cuts, and also there's that risk of ingestion if they mistake litter for food items as well. And they estimate there's about 11 calls a day related to wildlife and litter in the UK. So this is obviously an ongoing issue, and it's one of those ones where, as we're getting more and more litter entering the environment, we can only expect this to increase if we do not make changes to the way we are using items and recycling those items responsibly. And as part of that, there's also increased research that is showing the impact it's having on fish populations, both in freshwater and marine environments. And this is from when that plastic is getting broken down into smaller and smaller pieces, that it then is getting mistaken for food and getting consumed by a variety of different species, and then is entering the food chain. So on the left here is a diagram that I pulled from an article which reviewed the evidence out there that's been collected looking at marine species and those that have been found to contain plastic in these studies. And as you can see there, the ones in red are those where they found it so far. And as you can see from the information and the stats there, that in 2010-2013, for sampled fish species, they found 15% of those contained plastic, and that has now increased 2017-2019 to 33%, so almost a third. And that same 33, one-third level has also been found in studies that have undertaken in the Thames and other catchments in England as well. So this is a growing issue. And as I mentioned earlier, this can have impacts through loss of appetite for those species. So it's impeding their growth and slowing that down, but also can have huge knock-on effects. So it's a real concern kind of going forward. And I mentioned there the environmental issues, but there's also the key visual pollution that litter causes as well. And this is not only from it being an eyesore, there's studies that have found that in those environments where litter has been either dropped or it's arrived into the environment, so it might have been blown in, but in those locations then you find that people are more likely to then drop litter. So it's one of those things of, if it's been blown into that location, it then might be an attributing factor to more being left in that location. But the key thing here that I wanted to highlight is this idea of, it's not so much in the public's view of what it is that's been dropped, but it's how they're thinking about why it got there. And this is something I really feel is a key thing for us as anglers to, and a key reason for us to get engaged with that. I know a lot of communities are already engaged in doing a lot, but it's that idea of, because it's getting blown into the rivers, into our lakes, for example, if we are fishing at the banks and then you have someone who's coming along and they see it there, we will unfairly get associated with it. So it's trying to break down that perception of why it's there. It's not us, minority of cases it might be left by us, but it's that association, and that's a key reason why I think we should engage in this and try and make sure that perception is changed. I don't think it's there, but it's a risk, and I think it's something we want to ensure we are following best practice and leading the way in this issue, just so people recognise that from the outset. Finally, I'm sure you all remember seeing it in the newspapers last year, the images of Durdle Door and just numerous other locations up and down the country of the sheer amount of litter that has been left. And part of this comes because of the lockdown restrictions and just the different ways people are interacting, more people seeking out and going out to enjoy the countryside, which is great. But unfortunately, what came with that was a huge increase in the amount of litter that was being left. And some work that was undertaken by the Marine Conservation Society highlighted that the number of gloves and face masks that were being left. So I think 30% of their beach surveys they did, 459 beaches were surveyed, and of those 30% contained gloves and face masks. And inland, through some work they did as well, 69% of those contained these PPE equipment and protective gear. So it just highlights again this issue, and why hopefully going forward into the summer we should be engaging with this, showing best practice, and then encouraging through our activities others to make sure that they take home, general public will take home their litter with them if they are out enjoying the countryside. So recognising all of this, the Angling Trust launched the Anglers Against Litter campaign in September 2020. So we have been doing various different bits of work on litter for many years, but we felt we really wanted to bring this all together under an umbrella campaign, so we could really be the voice for anglers on litter and plastic pollution, and really showcase the work that anglers are doing and encourage more to get involved, but also promote it further to the general public to encourage them to take responsibility for what they are doing and try and reduce the amount of litter that is entering the environment, and also help to encourage reduce, reuse, recycling processes throughout the angling community. So there are three main ways which anyone can get involved and help to support the Anglers Against Litter campaign, and so I'll go through these now in turn. So the first of these is pledging to take 5. So this is a very simple initiative, as it says on the tin, but it's just pledging to spend 5 minutes after you've been fishing to pick up litter that's around you in your swim, that's on the beach, for example, and to take that home with you. It can also be, if you don't have 5 minutes, just taking 5 pieces of litter away with you. And it sounds very simple, but if every angler just did this just once a year, that add up to 10 to 15 million pieces of litter that get removed from the environment. So it would really add up and make a difference. And also it's that idea, if you have people walking past, they can see they're doing that as well and encourage them to do the same. And actually, when I talk to people about this, they say I already do that. I actually pick up a lot more, but you know, we aren't aware of that. So actually, just by going and pledging that, it really helps us to showcase and have those numbers of how many anglers are doing this already, so we can take that forward and showcase that and the work that anglers are doing to help improve the environment. So please, if either go and pledge and take this forward as something that you'll do. If you're going to do one thing from today's presentation, then please, this would be it. And then if you do it already, fantastic, but also go and sign the Take 5 pledge and just say that you're doing it, just so we can really showcase the number of anglers up and down the country who are getting involved in doing this. So the second way you can get involved is by promoting and engaging with the Anglers National Line Recycling Scheme. So this was set up by two amazing anglers, Viv Shears and Steve Tapp, down in Sussex in 2016. And in 2018, this went nationwide. I believe now they've also extended and have some recycling work in Europe as well. But it's a really great scheme and gives you the opportunity to, if you've been respooling any of your kit at the end of the season, or as happens, bits get broken off, just collect that and you can send it off to them and it'll get recycled into some amazing products. So at the moment they are currently recycling nylon monofilament, braided lines and fly lines and spools as well. So there's a number of different ways that you can get involved, and this saves you having to kind of send it off to landfill, where it can take about 600 years to degrade, which is a significantly long time. And they estimate at the moment that if you have an angler who respools 2 rods, 200 meters of line on one of those rods, that we're currently producing every year 400 million meters of line, which is a significant amount. And now we have this fantastic opportunity to send that off and get recycled into other products. And here's an example here. So this is just some example of some of the bags that get sent to the scheme. And what they do, they send this off to a company in the UK called Reworked, and they now turn them into other angling products. So this then anything that is sold is then put back into the scheme. So it's a really fantastic project and is growing, and it's something that we can all get behind and really support and stop this line going to landfill and turn into something really useful. And at present, I believe they have around 600 bins dotted around the country, as you can see on the map here, and they've recycled around 15 million meters of line, so a significant amount of line through the scheme, and that's been stopped going to landfill. And if you're interested, if you run a fishery or club, there's 2 ways that you can get involved in this. Firstly, you can register on their website to host a bin yourself. This doesn't have to be public if you don't want it to be. This can be private, and just means that your members can bring any old line to you, and then you can send it off from there to be recycled when your bin is full up. The second option is you can just let members know about the scheme and promote it on your website and just through other means on your social media, just so we can get as many people out there engaged in the scheme and sending off line to be recycled. And as I said, as an individual, there's different ways you can get involved. So you can go onto their website, just type it in online, and you can enter in your postcode and find out your nearest location that has a bin. So either you can, if you've got a lot, you can take it to these locations, or if you only have a small amount, or it's just easier for you depending on your circumstances, you can send it to them by post. Again, this is on their website, and depending on the amount, might just be the cost of a large second-class stamp if you're just putting it in an envelope. And the final way, and something that they're expanding, and I'll come on to a bit later, is these pipe bins. So this could also be an option if you don't have a hut, for example, or somewhere to put it. this could be something, if you can find someone who's willing to maintain and check it just to see if it's full. They also have these available that you can put up somewhere, so anglers can come along and put small amounts of fishing line in the top, has a screw cap at the bottom, and you can then just take that out and again package it up and send it off to them. So they are expanding the ways that you can get involved, and there's lots of ones out there. So if you're interested, go on the website and really get in contact with them. They're really great guys, and it's something, again, it's great to see these kind of initiatives happening across the country. And the final way that we can get involved is by organising and taking part in litter picks. So some work that came out of the National Angling Strategy showcased that about 57% of anglers who were surveyed have been involved in environmental work and volunteering, and 24% do that at least once a month. So in comparison, only 4% of the general public get involved in environmental improvement work and volunteering. So those two stats clearly showcase the amazing work that anglers do to help protect and restore the environment. However, we really don't make enough noise about this, I don't think. And I think this is something that we need to change and really showcase. And this is something that I've been really working on, just to try and demonstrate to the general public the work that we do, and it's something that I really want to encourage everyone to do a lot more going forward. And so this is something that I've been really promoting through the campaign since it's been launched, and it's been really encouraging to see how people have got engaged with it, particularly this spring. And it's just a way of getting involved, getting out there, and being able to showcase the public the work that anglers are doing, and having that visual. Again, I know a lot of people are doing this already through working parties, and I think it's just really a matter of us being better at communicating the work that we do to other audiences that might not realise just how much we help to protect the environment. And as I said, it's obviously helping to protect the environment and improving it, but the other side of it is being able to showcase how we're helping to protect and conserve the environment. So this is a prime example. So this was down the River Exe. So we did some work a few weeks ago now, the bank holiday weekend, and we have these free angling bibs, the Anglers Against Litter bibs. We can send out a couple for free to clubs who are going to be doing litter picks, and it just means that if you have these whilst you're doing the work, you can have the public go by, and then they realise which club or which group are doing this. You realise it's anglers who are getting involved. And it's amazing just on that day, just how many conversations I had with people. One, they'd come up and just thank you for the work you're doing, thanks for getting involved, but also opened up conversations about, oh, what fish do you find here? And just not that realisation that that kind of activity can go on in that water. So it really opened up those conversations just by having that bib and that visual. And so if anyone is doing this work and would be interested, again, just contact us at the Angling Trust, and I'm happy to send a couple of these over in the post to you. So there is actually the opportunity coming up in the next few weeks if you were interested in getting involved. So there's the Keep Britain Tidy campaign. So this is a huge national campaign. It's run every year, and they have the Great British Spring Clean. So it's normally run in March, but due to COVID, they've pushed it back into kind of June this year. And so this is a really great opportunity to get out there with the club before the open season starts, to do a litter pick. And then if you use the hashtag, so our hashtag Anglers Against Litter, and you use theirs, which is Litter Heroes, and push it out online, hopefully we can really get it out there into the community and showcase how anglers are getting involved in this issue. And if you are interested in kit, and this is something that I often have conversations about with anglers, and some might not realise, some know, actually a lot of local councils will offer to loan kit out to clubs free of charge if they're interested in having them. This has been slightly delayed or scaled back due to COVID, but as the restrictions are lifting, they are definitely beginning to loan these out again, but it's very council specific, so you'd have to check there. But if they say that they can't loan out any kit at this time, then they can definitely loan out bags for yourselves to use. And I also encourage just to contact them anyway, just because they can help with organising a suitable location for the litter that you've collected to be picked up. Often this could happen on a weekend, so just making sure you found somewhere that's in a lay-by or suitable location, so then they can come and pick that up when the trucks are going past on the next dedicated day. And at the Trust, we've been really trying to push this and provide materials as much as possible to help anglers get involved. So we have our toolkit for cleanup. So this includes information which includes a risk assessment, for example, a template risk assessment of just some of the things that you might be thinking of. It's not completely comprehensive because it depends on your site. But if you're looking into doing that, then that is on there as a resource for you to start. Also includes some of the kit that you should be thinking about. And also a really key thing, when we're talking about promotion, there's also a free press release template on there. So I've been talking about promoting it on your Facebook pages and sharing it with us at that email address, Anglers Against Litter, because we're more than happy to promote that, bring some really positive PR to your club. If you send your images and your stories with us, if you don't want to do that, then that's absolutely fine, but encourage you to use the Anglers Against Litter hashtag as well. But the key thing is this draft template. So as well as promoting it out to the audiences and to anglers, by using this template and just filling in the specific information about your pick that happened and sending this with a photo to your local press, hopefully this will encourage in some cases for them to promote that, and again you're getting out there into the local community about how anglers are helping to tackle this issue. And as well as the Anglers Against Litter work, we're also engaged in a series of other initiatives around litter. And one of these that we're involved in this summer is the Treasure River campaign. So this is being coordinated by the charity Hubbub, but includes a variety of organisations across the country who will be working in these key catchments to try and raise awareness of the issue of litter and encourage more recycling practices. So if you want to find more out about that, then go and have a look at the page. But I'll just go quickly into how we're helping and involved in that at the Trust. So this summer we'll be engaged through Treasure River promoting best practice through 3 areas. So first of all is we have 50 recycling pipe bins that are available to go up in these key catchments. So if you are located in one of these catchments and you're interested, then please get in touch and we can organise to get one sent out to you. The only thing from your side is then that you're happy to maintain that and then check it, and when it's full it's just sending off the line to be recycled. But if you're interested in that, then please get in touch. The second is handing out or providing fishing pegs that have been made from recycled products. So they're made by the amazing company Marmax. So we have identified 12 locations in these catchments which will be receiving these products, and it will really help to either replace them that are falling down or cannot be used, or putting new ones in place to help provide facilities for new anglers, for juveniles and also disabled anglers in these catchments. So these will be going out in the summer period as well, so something to keep an eye out for on our social media pages. And the final way that we're getting involved is trying to encourage awareness from a young age. So we are linking in with Get Hooked on Fishing in their facility, in their centre in Ealing on the Thames. And throughout the summer, we'll be incorporating kind of litter awareness raising activities into their Get Hooked on Fishing days. The idea is we'll have these resources to make the younger generation aware of the issue, and it means that they're then following the best practices going forward. So it's 3 different ways, but combined is kind of going full circle really by encouraging recycling, using products that are made from recycled materials, and then encouraging awareness going forward in the issue to stop more litter entering the environment. So coming on to my final slide, but just wanted to say that at the moment we have a water quality monitoring survey open as part of our pollution campaign. So this is a call out for clubs just to let us know if you're taking part in or undertaking any form of monitoring for pollution in the waters. Just to fill out the survey, it's probably take 5 minutes max, probably less than that, and it's really just to give us a greater understanding of the amount of monitoring that's occurring across the country, and so we work out how we can use this going forward to inform our campaign and try and get a better level of understanding of pollution levels across the country. Thank you all for listening, and now I'll come on to any questions.